Anyway, I've just heard we're going down to the feature match right now,
started,
so
then.
let's get started. Yeah,
Hopefully a very good matchup.
Right, so
I think we're just resolving mulligans, but I'm not too sure who's even going first right now.
No. We'll find out in a second. So, Daniel Cocking is going first, so the blue-red Eldrazi is going first.
I don't think that's too much of a deal. I think we've been quite a slow matchup from both of them. With it being a slow matchup from both of them, it's the play of the draw is probably not a big deal. Maybe the card on the draw is a bigger deal. We've got a mulligan as well.
Yeah, I kind of feel like being on the draw as the blue-red deck's not necessarily going to be that much of a disadvantage. The only thing is that you get your counter spells one turn less, but when you're playing, for example, Clash of Wills, you still have the ability to counter spell on turn 2. So
yeah. I think it's probably more important for the black-white deck with the sort of Gideon math of if you can play it early. The earlier you can play it's obviously better, but also what your opponent has available to try and stop you, or what board they can build up to try and make it less powerful. Really.
Yeah. So I actually played against Daniel Cocking at the last PPTQ, and he stomped me in the semi-final. He was playing this deck, yeah.
Oh, fantastic.
And I was playing an incredibly dirtly Naya deck.
The Naya deck's fun.
It's great. It's a great
you get
deck,
to play the best curve from 1 to 7,
stomped.
2 to 7. Even.
So off we go. Right. So we've got a Cave of Golios from Matthew, start us off, and Highland Lake from Daniel. So tap land, fixing his colours.
Just build in some mana.
Yeah.
It turns out we got told a bit wrong on the starting player, but never mind.
It's fine. We've got an A-League coming
a bit
down.
of a painful eternal program, but it's fine.
I mean, it's in play now, but like we say, getting beats in early is going to be quite a big thing.
Just something little, so you sort of forcing your opponent to have to both interact with your spells, and they can either interact with your spells or your creatures, and they can't really do both.
And it's going to die.
But I guess if
Spatial contortion from Daniel is going to take down that.
If you're doing nothing for the turn, it's fine.
Right, so we've got a turn 4, I believe. Yep, Thought-Knot Seer, one of the best. Well, that's going to take a Clash of Wills. So Thought-Knot Seer, this is an Eldrazi deck by the looks of it. He would have been able to take a card from Daniel's hand and exile it, but Clash of Wills said no, and Dan drew a land. I think he missed a land drop actually on turn 3, and there's a missed land drop from Matthew on turn 5, and the pass back. Another pass back. Here we go, that classic draw and go, which is going to favour Daniel, I believe. If he draws his land drops, that is. I mean, if not, then there's an Eldrazi Displacer, which is it going to resolve?
It's not too much of an issue that they're missing land drops, because they're both drawing interactive spells that sort of, it's never a point of one of them resolves something and the other sort of sits there and goes, I can't do anything for a while.
I think that Daniel needs to hit his land drops though. I mean, look, he's got an Ulamog in hand.
When you're drawing 10 drops, you need to start drawing lands, and this just seems very rough.
He can counter all day, but he's not getting any advantage out of that. Eventually Matthew will stick a creature, even if it's just a shambling event that's in play for him now, and taking 2 a turn for X amount of turns.
I think he just drew before discard, but that's fine.
Yeah.
I think it's just good, if he gets ahead on land, it's probably going to come to a point where Matt can just force through 2 spells, and you can't counter both with 3 mana. Another.
Yeah, there's a Hedron Archive there which he can't cast until he draws 1 more land. But I mean, I think that's a good draw in terms of.
If he draws the land, he gets to get going.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. This is an Avacyn. Well, he might have to discard because I imagine he's going to want to counter this.
Yeah, that's probably going to be the case.
I wouldn't even get the double face card out. He's getting counters. Come on.
There it goes, yeah.
Back in the box.
Oh dear. Yeah, well I think that's quite a nice little tempo swing for Daniel there. If he draws a land, gets to slam his archive.
Well, this is in his own end step, so Matt will get to. This is sort of the idea of being able to play 2 spells very rapidly.
Yeah. Oh right. Okay.
If he draws
anything, he was about to discard, wasn't he? Yeah.
If he draws anything of relevance, he can sort of just slam it.
There's 6
Probably
mana.
a Thorin.
Is this going to be Sorin?
Well,
yep.
That's something relevant.
That's a pretty big game there.
I think the Ulamog deck might struggle to interact with Planeswalkers.
So Sorin's +1, you reveal the top card of your library, and it deals damage equal to the converted mana cost to your opponent. I think it's lose life actually. No, it is damage.
It
It's
is
direct
damage.
damage. Yeah. So it goes up to 7 loyalty as well, which is going to be insanely hard to deal with in a deck that is just not playing any creatures.
You sort of just got to burn it down, really.
Yeah.
I think Matt's just going to be able to just keep plussing, probably plus it 1 above the ultimate, and ultimate it, make a lot of 1/1
I don't
lifelink
know.
vampires.
When you've seen Coldwax return, I feel that doing that is a little bit of a risky
Well, I
strategy.
think you definitely put it 1 above as well, so you keep your Sorin around afterwards. But you might just be able to keep plussing
Yeah,
forever.
I think I think that's now your win con. I think you just keep plussing sorry until the game's over. Now we have an Omnix list coming into play. Nope. Spell Shrivel, which counters it unless you pay 4 mana, and then it's exiled if it's countered. So down it goes, and there's the land finally
I
from
think
Daniel.
it's far too little too late. Look, he's
Yeah.
already checking what the ultimate does.
Yeah.
I think I'm not 100% if this signals if he's got Kozilek's Return in hand, but even with it in the graveyard, he needs to cast one big thing and
Exactly.
it
Like,
kills all the
I
guys.
don't see.
Yeah, I think you probably just keep plussing and just hope to kill him with the damage. You can flip another 6 or you flip a 5 and you're doing fine.
So the other thing to note about the land that Daniel played is its Majoring Network, which is a charge land. So at the end of his turn, you can pay 1 mana to put a counter on that Majoring Network. And then when it has, for example, more than 1, when it has 2, you're netting a mana.
Yeah.
So you can take the charge counters off and you get that many mana. So he might be opting, instead of playing the Hedron Archive, to hold up a counter spell and also charge that Majoring Network, which will vamp him.
Yeah, I think that's definitely the better player. Just sort of hold up a counter spell because he's going to struggle to catch up anyway. But
Yeah, exactly.
he's sort of just got to play to the best house he's got, which is countering or ramping.
Here we see a Kalatas getting taken down by another Spell Shrivel. See that get exiled. But here's that stage you were talking about exactly, where you can cast 2 spells a turn. And we'll see that Read the Bones, net Matthew some more card advantage. Gets to scry twice, takes 2 life, but it's not that he's really bothered by that whatsoever.
I think that Battlefield 4 just got to go on the bottom.
You reckon? You sure? Okay. See what he does as the Thought-Knot Seer and a Cave of Coleos, so I'd expect to see that Thought-Knot Seer next turn, try and hit the battlefield.
Yeah, I think if he's able to do the 2 spells a turn thing again, I think you definitely want to do the Thought-Knot Seer second, just because the game is close to wrapped up. You just need to make sure your opponent doesn't somehow get that one thing that ruins you. But I guess when he's only got a Hedron Archive, you can just really just slam the Thought-Knots here.
Yeah, I suppose so.
Take the Chandra or the Ulamog in his hand.
Yeah.
You're not really going to get caught.
So I think Daniel just decided to play the Hedron Archive. Didn't really have any other plays. And he can also hold up Spatial Contortion if he has it as well.
Transgress the Mind. Oh, this has not ended well.
Oh dear. Sorin is now on 10 loyalty.
Well,
He is a very loyal Sorin.
yeah.
We've got a Swamp and a Battlefield Forged, I think.
I think we're going to see a Transgress
Yeah.
followed by a Thought-Knots there. And
Just to make sure there's no way to get rid of it.
what we got?
Spell Shrivel, Spatial Contortion, a Clash of Wills, a Chandra, and a Ulamog.
Yeah.
I don't know what you take here.
I think
Maybe Spell Shrivel just to get rid of the counters.
realistically you take one of the threats with the Transgress and then you Thought-Knot Seer and take the Chandra. Your opponent has very little interaction that can do anything.
I completely forgot he was tapped out, to be perfectly honest with you.
Surprised he didn't use the Spatial Contortion to counter the Transgress the Mind, because he could have tapped the Hedron Archive.
Spatial Contortion.
Oh, Spatial Contortion, not Warping Whale, my
Warping
mistake.
Whale, yeah.
Colourless cards.
So there goes both of the win cons.
Yeah.
So yeah, look,
I think-
things looking pretty bleak for Dan now.
Yeah.
John Spawning Bed.
Unless he can rapidly get to 10 mana and drop an Ulamog, I think Matt's just going to do at least 4 damage a turn, if not more.
Yeah.
Keep drawing cards. He can start attacking with Shambling then, realistically.
That's true.
And then even if an Ulamog comes down, as long as Matt has like any form of mana, he's got Declaration Stone, he's got the Quarantine Field in hand.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, things are looking pretty bleak.
it'd be very interesting if I'm proved wrong and Dan has a very solid way to get back into this, but I think this is close to over.
Yeah. I think we're seeing is that the Hedron Archive being exploded? Does the Spawning Bed. So the Spawning Bed is pay 5, sacrifice the land, and you get 3
3
1/1 Scions.
So it'll cost you a total of 6 mana, but you're ramping yourself by 2 overall. But yeah.
Is that? I think that was a Sorin ultimate. So he's now putting into play 15 1/1 Vampire Knights with lifelink.
Well, I think so. Dan's got at least 7 mana, so he can definitely, if he draws any form of Eldrazi, he can flashback the Kozilek's Return.
I do think
this
is a little bit of a risky play, to be perfectly honest with you.
I think if you just keep plussing and you're hitting for at least 4 a turn, you throw in the Shaman Vent, you're hitting for at least 6 a turn, and then if your Sorin flips anything, you're hitting for a little bit more.
But I don't think we can overstate how cool it is to ultimate a Sorin, because you don't see that very often.
But the thing is, even if... Oh, what have we got?
Spawn in bed, cracking. Okay. I think this might just be to save some life.
Has he got something in hand that we've missed? Cause it seems like it's going to be the chump and sack.
Well, he can chump and then Spatial Contortion with the other 2 Scions if he needs to.
Yeah.
And kill the Thought Not Seer.
You'll get some good card draw, I guess, yeah.
So now they're being declared in stone. Yeah, there you go. There's the Spatial Contortion taking down the Thought
I'm
Not
not sure about the declaration stone though, because I think Dan's going to do that anyway because he wants the card draw.
Yeah.
He's drawn the Ulamog, but I don't think he's got I don't think he's got the mana.
He only has 6 mana, I believe.
Yeah.
So there's the Chandra, but unfortunately single red.
Chandra would have been huge there.
Yeah, it would have. Yeah.
If it was Chandra land off the top, I think he's back in it completely. I mean, I get his opponent has lots of card in hand. He probably quarantine fields Chandra straight away, but he's got the Sorin on 1. He's got nothing else. Yeah,
and there's game 1.
Yeah.
So relatively one-sided due to Dan not really drawing any lands.
They both sort of stalled on lands, and Dan was just drawing additional counter spells, but not additional lands to play multiple in a turn. And then Matt drew out of this mana screw, and then there you go. So apparently we've got a couple cards on
the black-white list.
On the black-white deck list that we can't seem to identify, but we'll just have a look at the sheet ourselves.
Yeah.
I think that's Warping Whale. I might be wrong. And it's not just because I like the card, because I seem to mention it quite a lot.
I don't think it is. I think that starts with an S. Anywho, we have two mystery cards.
The handwriting.
The handwriting on this is.
It's definitely like impressionism.
It is, yeah. It's beautiful. It is art. It is art.
Yeah.
Anyway, so what do you think is going to come in from Matthew then?
I think for Matt, he's going to bring in the Obliteration.
Yep.
If you see the deck blue red Ulamog, you think the bogeyman of the deck is Ulamog, and you want to get rid of it.
Yeah.
But I think to counteract that, not to jump about the place, but I think Dan will bring in some of the other Eldrazi, because a black deck you've got to expect at least a single Obliteration. You don't want to take your main win con, so you want to vary it up a little bit.
Sure.
The sort of the duresses as well, because it's a counter spell deck. That's definitely what you want to get.
Yeah, exactly.
Secure the Waste might be something to bring in, but it depends if he thinks all the Kozilek's Return are going to stay in, because he's a very creature light deck. So if he sort of thinks the Kozilek's Return is going to go out, Secure the Waste gets a lot better, because it's very difficult to 1-for-1 if you can get it around the counter spells.
Yeah.
But
and also, I'm not really sure there's much of an answer to Almondal in the blue deck, other than maybe Jace bouncing.
Well, you've got the Jace bounce. You can Ulamog to exile it, but you cast the Ulamog then, so
that's true.
It could have been
I think that's pretty
really.
much the game anyway, isn't it? Really.
What do you think Dan will bring in?
Looking at his sideboard there, I mean, maybe the Thought Not Seers.
I think the Thought Not Seers definitely. The Reality Smasher you can make an argument for. The negates definitely consideration. He might sideboard out some of his sort of less powerful counter spells.
It also depends on how familiar Daniel is with the. I mean, obviously he won't know Matthew's list. He'll have seen some of the Eldrazi, but you don't know how Planeswalker or removal based it is compared to the usual black-white control decks.
Yeah. I don't. As much as I was looking at it and thought about Rending Volley myself, I don't think it'll come in because the only white creature's devoid with Eldrazi Displacer.
You've got Ailey. You could.
I don't know if it's that big of a deal.
No, I don't think it is at all. So, I doubt they're coming in. Really.
Is he taking a photo of his own deck list? Oh, he's having a look at his. Oh, okay. We've got a spotter at the table asking what the final 2 cards are in Matt's sideboard, so we're getting that sent up to us. So that's some quick thinking there by our table spotter, and thanks very much.
Yeah, good job.
Oh, they're
Wasteland Strangler.
Wasteland Stranglers.
How that ever says Wasteland Stronger, I will never know.
I think not to bash him on his hand. I think the biggest thing is he just writes too big for lines, so they sort of overlap. But
Right, okay.
I don't know. I'm not here
That's
to do
neither
that.
here nor there.
It's
we're not judges of handwriting. We're here to commentate on this beautiful game that is Magic the Gathering.
Basically.
And I don't think Wasteland Stronger is going to come in.
Oh, it's definitely not a consideration for this. It's clearly for the sort of banned humans or the white-red humans or even green-white tokens. I can see it coming because you can snag an early advocate with it.
Yep, that's very true.
Or even just get a token out of the way so you can bash through and kill the Gideons.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, so we'll have Dan on the play this time, so should be able to get his counter magic out a little bit earlier.
I think
hopefully we'll draw some lands.
Well, yeah. I think with the level of discard that Matt's able to go up to, I think he's probably slightly favoured. But that's just sort of my gut impression of like he can early duresses and transgress.
Yeah.
And the transgressors are being able to both get rid of counter spells that are relevant outside of Clash of Wills. All the negates. I can get rid of some of the 3-mana counter spells which are good, but it also gets rid of the threats. And
yeah, agreed.
The Ulamog deck, it's a little reminiscent of Tron in that you have a lot of these setup cards, and instead of sort of like cards to find you your lands, you play counter spells to interact with your opponent, but your actual threats that kill your opponent is quite low. And I think if one of those gets taken early, you sort of end up treading water for a while and hoping your opponent doesn't get too far.
The thing is, though, the better hands that are kept at the start will not have those threats in, so you'll eventually draw into them or top deck them at some stage. So it makes the hand disruption plan a little worse in that respect.
Yeah, no, I agree.
But I think the other thing that the hand disruption can do, it can snag a Hedron archive quite early on, which stops the ramp plan.
That's very good.
Yeah, and also stops the card draw. So we've got Matthew taking a mulligan here.
We saw him check the top card as well. I'm not a fan of that.
Yeah, you never look. You should never look.
You need to be, even if you're wrong, you need to be confident that you think you made the right decision. If someone says you're wrong afterwards, you need to know that. If someone shows you your top card, it doesn't matter. It could have been anything. It's an ace of spades when it's on the top. It's only when you draw it, it becomes a magic card. It's what you need to understand.
Wise words here from Matthew Duggan.
Basically. But yeah, no, it's just very poor form because it gets into your judgments and you're thinking, well, the last time I looked, it was a land. Maybe it'll be a land this time. No,
don't be results orientated.
Yeah, basically. I think it was the SEG pro Chris Van Meter said it best. Like he doesn't want to win games. He wants to play good Magic because sometimes you win games playing poorly, and but if you play poorly, you often lose. But if you play well, the wins sort of come along as like a byproduct of it. They're something that develop over time, so you want to focus on playing well and then your wins come afterwards.
A really nice parable there.
There you go.
So we've started off here, Matthew
if he wants to send me a Beard Power t-shirt, I'll take it.
So we've got just an island from Dan and a Shambling Event starting off tapped for Matthew. I saw an Infinite Obliteration in his hand, so I'm excited. I'm excited by the prospect of that.
I think you definitely don't pull the trigger until your opponent's tapped out for
Yeah,
that Hedron
exactly.
Archive, because it's such a powerful card and it's so easily countered out. I've already seen a negate in Dan's hand, and there's a spell shrivel as well.
Yeah. So we've got two majoring networks firing up here. They do work well in multiples. They tend to be better when you have four lands.
You need like an even number of lands. So when I guess he's going to counter. I was thinking, do you pump the other one to 1 or do you pump this one to 2 if you didn't have to play anything this turn?
2 next mana, so you'd pump it to 2, I believe. So there's a Highland like tapped.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's time for the Thought Master.
Which I don't think is going to be long for this world, or even come into this world. It's shriveled away.
Straight out. Dan's quite nicely sequencing his counter spells in ways that he's using his mana quite efficiently.
Yep, exactly.
And, here we see Majoring Network, the storage land, reminiscent of those coloured ones in the past for sort of Dragonstorm decks, things like that. But it was played a lot in the sort of Esper Dragons decks because the mirror matches were a lot about mana advantage. But
and just how efficient you could be with your mana. It's a big thing. It still is in some at the moment. So Matthew is taking 1 damage
taking a point of pain to get him for 2.
Shambling Vent. Yep. Gets him for 2 and gains that life straight back with an extra 1.
Yeah.
And we haven't anticipated
he's clearly seen a very counter spell heavy deck just go past with 4 mana up, and he's thinking, I can get him for 2 because he doesn't play as much sort of interaction on the board, so let's not waste any cards. But the anticipate kind of meaning Dan's not wasting too much mana, and the major networks as well.
Yeah.
Seems to be a well-oiled machine right now.
Yeah.
He's getting in where he needs to.
And we see an extra removal spell go into the grip for Dan. And he has a Chandra, and again, no double red.
Double red.
Yeah. Just going to sit there and wait for it though. I think this game is going a lot more how Dan wants it to go.
I guess the blue-red deck only plays 8 red sources, then the 8 dual lands, the man lands and then the tap lands. It's 4 Achievement Reefs as well, yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
So it plays 12, so it shouldn't have too many problems actually. But yeah, I guess
So
it's going to keep ramping.
Yeah, one of these majoring networks now where net's 3 mana, so...
We've seen Anguish and Making in the sideboard in Matt's hand even, sorry, not his sideboard. So even if sort of as he goes for the Ulamog, he can blow up a couple lands, but I mean, he's gonna get Anguish and Making, but he's very far behind them. And I guess if you've already exiled one, the Infinite Obliteration gets a little bit less valuable.
Yep. So there's the double red from Dan. Decided not to pull the trigger on the Chandra this turn.
I think he wants to just build a very, very solid. Look, see his sideboards again. I think he wants to build a very solid mana advantage, almost so he can use his 2 red and the majoring networks and then leave up counter spells. But yeah.
So here we see Chandra Flamecaller. What do you think Chandra brings to the deck at this stage?
It brings a board wipe, it brings a very, very fast clock, a very solid alternate win condition. I'm unsure if you're zeroing that much with it because you have very little hits in the deck you'll actually find.
Yeah.
Like if you say discard 4 and you're drawing 5, like the actual hits that you want are very low, whereas just clocking them for 6 is a big deal. But I guess if they have a very flooded board state and you can't minus.
I think if you have a hand that's flooded with counter spells and you don't need these counter spells anymore and you just want to find your win con. I mean, I think Dan's around 6 cards in hand right now.
Yeah.
No.
I think it's definitely, and he's going for the play of using the majoring network plus his 2 red sources just to use with Chandra. But I think in the sort of priority list of abilities in this deck anyway, I think your top priorities you want to be getting in for 6, then you want to be board wiping, and then when you have nothing else to do, then you start drawing cards with them. But I think we're going to see the Anguish and Making here.
Yeah.
I think it's not off a pain land, so he's just going to take the 3.
Yeah.
He's using a Battlefield Forge for his colours and then the Shaman Vent or Swamp for the other 2.
Sure. So Chandra has made 2 3/1 elementals with haste.
Yeah.
So they're going to come in.
I mean, 6 mana, deal 9 to your opponent and Thoughtseize them.
Yeah.
In a very roundabout way.
It's not bad, yeah.
And
you won't complain, and also he still has a counter spell built up. So it's going to be very hard for Matthew to get anything through.
Yeah, I think so.
And also I think his mana's not helping him out. He has 2 black sources and 2 double black spells in hand.
Yeah.
So only being able to cast 1 spell a turn really is a little bit awkward.
Yeah, I think if he had all the black he needed, I think he really wants to sort of drop the Kalitas to draw out the counter spell and then Infinite Obliteration so he can sit on it. But
so here we see Dan's hand, and it's double negate, Clash of Wills, Spatial Contortion.
I mean, he sort of looked thinking about whether he should counter it, and in case for the follow-up. But it's an embarrassment of wealth right now. He can sort of just lay it down and say,
to be
whatever
fair,
your follow-up is, I've got it covered.
There is something that could be said for countering this, though. It exiles the Transgress the Mind, which I know he's not running Goblin Dark Dwellers, but because he can only take spell quiz and also spell shrivel, and you're hiding the information as well.
I think hiding the information might be okay.
Yeah.
But,
so it was going to be the same outcome regardless, because that's the only more than 3 that you.
But the problem is, with only a single blue source, if he counters that, he can't play any other counter spells for the turn. Whereas now, Matt's past the turn, and he gets to start tallying up that Vader network again.
Yep. And there's another Spatial Contortion from
I think
Dan.
we're just going to say go for a while.
Yeah, it's going to be past go until Ulamog's
Ulamog.
Ulamog will be drawn and will be cast, I believe, because those major wing networks will get quite big.
Yeah, they're going to pull him ahead without having to do anything.
Yeah.
All he needs to just do is not interact, and he's doing quite well.
There is a small clock from the Shambling Vent, but that's going to get taken down by Spatial Contortion, I believe.
Definitely getting the Contortion this time.
Which again gets rid of another black mana source.
Yeah.
So the Kalitas and the Infinite Obliteration.
I mean, that seems a little dangerous when it's your second black source and you have so many double black in hand.
I agree.
And he saw a Spatial Contortion from the Transgress.
Yep.
Unless he's
maybe a little bit of a misstep there then from Matthew. But
I think he's just not considered as mana going forwards because he's now at least 2 uncastable cards in hand. He's got all 3 uncastable. He's got 2 Kalitas and an Infinite Obliteration. I think we're playing the waiting game for an Ulamog now.
Yep. Here's one of the better draws for Dan. It's a Hedron Archive, which nets in mana, but also draws 2. And I think at this stage, the drawing 2 is much more relevant.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
I think the entire thing now is second black off the top.
Yep.
So lucky. And I think it's now going to be a case of Dan's going to hold the counter spell, and if he does nothing of relevance, he'll pop it for the Hedron Archive.
I think this Kalitas might resolve though. He has two negates and a Clash of Wills, and I don't think the Clash of Wills, it can only be Clash of Wills for 3, which Matthew will be able to pay.
Yeah, it's a bit of a pain. Maybe you're going to decide to draw some cards.
And I think that was an
Anticipate and a Clash of Wills.
Yes, it was.
Oh, is that promo? Or is that the Ruined Process?
No, I think it was a promo, Clash of Wills.
Or an Eldrazi. We'll just wait and see.
Yeah,
it looks, whichever one it is, it seems like it might be a good card, so we might be playing it very soon.
Decided against the main phase Anticipate, saving his blue mana.
He's not at risk of having to discard or anything like that because it replaces itself, so it's not too much of an issue.
And in for 3 from the Kalitas. Some damage on the board.
Triple land, oh god.
I think the Wandering Funeral.
Well, we'll take the man. You've already got the first shrine. Yeah, we're doing alright. We just start ramping up again.
I don't think it ever stopped.
Well.
There's the Wandering Funeral into play, and a hand of 7 cards. Just
he's living the dream, isn't he?
Well, he is, except he's getting beaten in the face by the Kalitas.
I think in general, he's either going to win or lose the game on like 1 life or 10 life. It's the same really. It's the black-white deck's not going to fireball him all of a sudden in response to an Ulamog or something like that.
No, that's true.
So it's not that big of a deal if he takes a couple of hits. Probably because he doesn't have many actual pieces to interact with it.
No.
It's like double spatial contortion maybe, or
a
flashback Kozilek return.
I mean, next turn he'll be able to block with the Wandering Funeral, I guess.
I think that's very silly though, because it's definitely going to get removed somehow. And you just give him a zombie and his clock gets a bit quicker and you just have 1 less turn. Another island.
It's a bit awkward hand with another Kalitas in it.
Are we going to see the lowly Kalitas get in there? And just slowly... Well, the entire game he's been sat doing nothing, and then we've drawn the second Black Source after we foolishly threw away a Shambling Vent, and then it's just going to get in there. Dan's being robbed. Oh, he's going to block, isn't he?
I think he's decided to go against what you've...
I think he doesn't actually have the instant speed kill spell, so he won't get blown out too much by it.
Yeah, to be fair, I think most of them will have been sideboarded out.
Yeah, I think there's like maybe an argument to keep like Grasp of Harvesting for Manlands or Thought Not Seers. But yeah, he's going to block, he's going to switch, they're going to trade.
He might not switch. There's no need to switch, they bounce off each other.
I mean, I guess. But I think if he's about to drop the Sorin, I don't think his declaration is on Hedron Crawler. I think he's showing it to him.
It is on the Wandering Funeral, which is going to get...
well, I bet I wish he switched it now, didn't he?
Well, I mean, he had the option to negate it, to be honest with you.
Yeah, actually, just sort of look at it. Yeah, I hope he floated the mana, at least. It looks like he did, yeah.
He did, yeah.
Oh, so this was the block and spatial contortion.
Okay. That makes
I'm sure
more
someone's
sense.
seen this and is...
Yeah, they're shouting at us saying, why didn't you see this?
Yeah.
And the clue is cracked on the turn for another one on the funeral.
Well, we've managed to sort of hit parity, and I think that Jace is going to start doing some things. He's just drawn an Unraveler of Secrets for the turn.
Oh, right, okay, great.
I think that's going to come straight down and just start plussing, and it's going to be...
Yeah, drawing 2 cards a turn for a while. Seems pretty good.
Drawing 2 cards a turn, a bit of selection on one of them. Doing the same again of just tapping the coloured mana and then popping the Majoring Network. Leaves up as much colour as possible for the counter spells, which is very good.
Scries to the bottom, has another Anticipate.
It's just more card selection.
He's just going through the motions now, basically.
It's very dirtily.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, there's plenty of time on the clock for game 3, but both players are just sort of durdling about a bit, and you know, it seems alright.
Unfortunately, Matthew kind of has to start casting spells, otherwise he's just going to lose to an Ulamog.
Yeah, I think so.
And that's 5 mana, and that's a Clash of Wills, which is going to...
Did
Yeah,
he?
pays for 4. Yeah, I think he might have missed the Huddersfield, which can tap for an extra mana. Which
I thought he paid and went, I'll pay the 4, failed to pay, like put my Kalitas in the graveyard anyway, which I thought would have been even more bizarre than
high variance play. I feel.
Well, I mean, yeah.
Another Strife from
we like
Jace.
this one.
I like that one. There we go. There's Ulamog.
So what we're thinking? The Kalitas and a Black Source?
Yeah, probably. Just counting up his mana to make sure he can keep a counter spell open, I'm sure.
Well, he's got one land that's tapped for 6. I'm sure he can honor the counter spell. And the Sanctum tapped for another 2. So I think, one more land?
Yeah.
Yeah, he can leave it 4.
I mean, tapping 4 lands and playing an Ulamog must feel pretty damn good, really.
I mean, I know we talked about creature power creep, but that's a bit extreme.
This is ridiculous.
Yeah, it gets rid of the Black Source as well. I'm not sure on the Hedron Brawler. Like, it can block,
It blocks.
but it's not that big of a deal. And the colourless salt mana isn't that big of a deal. That much of a thing, is it? Oh, he's got triple black, that's probably why we kept it. Yeah, that makes sense then.
I think if he had it in the turn late, he would definitely be taking out that shambling event, but
Yeah.
it's quite a good draw. I believe there's that quarantine field in play from Matthew.
Yeah, but I think he needs to. I think he needs to take a hit and get to 10 mana so he can play the Sorin to draw out a counter spell, and then quarantine field. But I'm not even sure. Dan's just got too many cards in hand. He's going to quarantine field for 2, I think, and tried to get both the Jace and the.
Yeah.
He's going for the. Okay. I think
Maybe he's trying to do it over 2 turns and bait out a counter this turn.
Maybe, but I think Dan's still got the second negate in hand, doesn't
Yeah,
he?
he does.
So he's just going to hit for.
So I think
for
Ulamog
10.
is going to smack someone in the face right now.
I think with Matt's current life being on 21, he'll exile him out before he kills him.
Probably.
Well, the damage will kill him, but he'll be out of cards and then lose at his draw step.
Here comes the 20.
One at a time?
Yeah.
Not lay out 5, lay out 5.
No, you've got to do it like this.
Absolutely slow rolling him.
If nothing else, Dan gets to see what the sideboard plan has been as well, which
Well, I mean,
you know,
yes.
I think what we're likely to see is the quarantine field get countered, and then the game ends. To be honest with you, I think there might be a scoop quite quickly after that. It's looking a bit grim for our black-white Eldrazi player.
It's not looking fantastic.
It's not looking great. I mean, the obliteration in his hand has literally done nothing all game. It's kind of just sat there and got clumped up. So.
Well, there it is. It's a shame it doesn't affect the battlefield.
I
think he's checking if it affects the battlefield.
I kind of feel it's a bit late for that now. The card you want to be naming is Ulamog, and I think Dan's likely to just say, yeah, all right. Oh, you got another one.
I mean, they're legendary. It's an embarrassment of the world, isn't it?
Yeah. I think Dan's trying to say, look, I have these counters. And yeah.
I don't think Dan's
the
scooping
game.
there, but
no, I
think
don't
he's just
so.
picked his cards together first.
So that's 1-1. That's all
I think
wrapped
if I
up.
was Matt, I'd still have a look, but just because you want to see sort of if there's any of the weird cards like the Thought Not Seers and the Reality Smashers.
Yeah.
Because
I think if there's anything like that, though, I think Dan would have likely countered it.
maybe, but I'd still have a look. Because
Yeah, there's no harm in casting it. I think trying to get any information is better than getting no information.
Yeah, I think if they were under say like 10 minutes, I'd be thinking I just look as quick as I can, or maybe not look at all.
So yeah, that's Dan popping, taking it 1-1.
Yeah.
So back to sideboarding. Do you reckon there'll be any changes? Or do you reckon they'll probably stick with the... it looks like Matthew's making a couple of changes now. Maybe with a bit more information after an incredibly quick game in game 1.
Yeah, I think so.
Maybe Bearer of Silence coming in?
There's not too many creatures to force him to sacrifice, though, is there? I mean, it's another answer to an Ulamog.
Yeah.
But
And,
actually, I could see those coming in because the Ulamog doesn't necessarily win the game, it just puts Dan very far ahead.
Yeah.
But if you answer it immediately, he often doesn't have the second, he sometimes does.
Yeah. And he hasn't seen the Drowner of Hope, so maybe he doesn't know the deck list too well, maybe doesn't know that there's going to be Eldrazi tokens. I mean, he's seen the spawning bed, but that's all he's seen in terms of tokens.
But I think he might you might assume that the spawning bed's often used for ramp and not for sacrifice protection, because I guess if you've dropped an Ulamog and you've left up 6 more mana, like, the Bearer of Silence wasn't going to win you the game anyway.
No, that's true. And on top, to be fair as well, it is a 2/1 flyer that can get in there. I mean, I know you're looking for desperate ways to win. Yeah, it's a clock.
Seems alright.
Yeah, Dan, I'm not sure he's going to make any changes, to be honest with you. I can't see a reason to change any of his deck. I mean, it worked pretty well there. Went through the motions very quickly. Well, I say quickly, it didn't really go through very quickly. It was a bit of a slow grind, but...
Well, yeah. I mean, you play as quick as you can, but when there's about 20 turns, it's going to take a while.
Yeah. Draw go. The way that Magic should be played.
I don't know. I'm sort of between the level of draw go that's available and the sort of mid-ranging that's happening right now of very tap out.
See, I've always been a mid-range player. I just like durdling for a while and then slamming things. The day that Siege Rhino rotated out was the saddest day of my life. So.
Oh, I miss Siege Rhino a lot.
Yeah.
But I think from that sort of deck, the biggest thing, from the Abzan control deck, the biggest thing that I miss is the Thoughtseize. It's my favourite card in all of Magic.
So I don't even play it in Abzan. I stopped that. I started playing Fleeceman Lines instead.
Oh, you see, I did the same. For the GP, the Abzan control was there. I cut the 4 Thoughtseizes, even from the sideboard as well, for 4 Fleeceman Lines, because it made your Rogue's Command a little bit better as well. From playing it in Mono Black to everything else, Thoughtseize is just a wonderful card.
Looks like we've got another mulligan, is that from Matthew? Yeah. He didn't look that time, he looked at the bottom cards, so I don't know if is that more acceptable?
I mean, on the bottom, that's even less relevant, is it? Because at that point you're saying, what was I never going to draw? I was never going to draw the land, that was correct. Like, you know.
Perfect logic there. Cheers, man.
Absolutely outstanding.
I think we've got Daniel keeping. So, I mean, being on the play with a mulligan is not exactly ideal against a deck that's just going to try and 1-for-1 you the whole time.
It's not great, but you have to assume that the hand he's got rid of had like a major issue with it. Like,
yeah. I mean, I'm not saying it's the wrong decision, I'm just saying you don't feel good doing it.
Oh, you never do. Never. But if he can get out the early Gideon, I think he's doing quite well. Which is quite nice. We've got a little bit of deck tech being recorded in there.
Yeah.
Out of the corner of my eye, I can see. Got a nice little setup of the cards that are relevant for the deck, and well, I won't spoil it, but it's not the most exciting deck in the room, but it's probably one of the best. It's not the mono white lockdown deck, for those of you who are hankering for a deck tech on that.
So we've got tap lands from both players, both man lands, colour fixing, and
same old, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's like the fetch land battle lands all over again. No one does anything in the first 3 turns because you set up your mana, and then everyone plays really busted spells.
The good days. I prefer the Scry lands, they were the best.
I think they're a very balanced set of lands. Right. Yeah.
So we've got an anticipate on end step from Dan. I didn't quite see what he took.
I did quite see it. We'll pay a bit more attention to it. Hands now, not talk about lands.
It looked like a Clash of Wills.
Yeah, so we've got some good counterspell backup to just sort of stop things.
And here comes the majoring network. We're just going to see him tap that till the end of the game, aren't we?
I mean, pick up the read the bonus and top your deck and play it straight away. Do we not mask it a little bit? Because nothing says I need this to resolve like this is the card from the very top of my deck.
Yeah. Please resolve.
Like, I mean, he's going to counter it anyway, but I think Dan just feels a little bit better for it now.
Yeah, definitely. And get into
does it again?
He plays the land off the top.
I think he's doing it now for the world. I'll do it anyway. Still got all these.
So we see a Gideon in hand for Matthew. I don't know if he's going to try and run it out and battle through the counters.
I think you go for the Thought Knot first.
Yeah, I'd agree with that as well.
They're both going to draw counter spells, but I think the Gideon's got a higher sort of...
See, I don't agree with the do nothing plan. You need to start drawing out the counter spells before Dan draws more land to be able to counter more.
Yeah, the thing is, like, Dan's do nothing past the turn plans so much better.
Yeah, and there's a Heedling Archive. Oh, it wasn't a do nothing plan. Here we go. Here's a Secure the Waste for 3. There's 3 1/1s.
I mean, we spoke about them coming in. If you're sneaking for a counter spell, they're difficult to 1-for-1.
Yeah.
But it's now down to the Kozilek return, really. Dan has 2 main and 2 in the board.
Yeah.
And there's a Reality Smash as well. This could be a real good time to slam that down.
Dan has 3 mana up, including the Hedron Archive.
I think he must have some form of counter spell.
Yeah. So there's the Thought Not Seer.
Although maybe not for the Thought Not Seer. I think I see a negate, but I don't think I see one that hits the creature.
Oh, we might have a resolving an actual creature.
I think he's got to go with that Kozilek's Return. Oh, we're going to cast Kozilek's Return first, yeah.
There we go. So there go tokens. So it'll take no damage this turn. And
see a Drown of Hope, Shrine,
we negate.
And a Chandra.
That wasn't an earthquake, ladies and gentlemen. I believe there was just a small nudge on the camera. We're still fine here.
The rest of Huddersfield seems to stay as it should be.
So Matthew's just making a decision here on what to take, giving his hand a quick look through just to see what else he can do.
His hand is really. I think there's the argument for the negate because I've just seen infinite obliteration, but he doesn't have the double black here.
Yeah. There's also an Obnixilis in hand again, no double black.
Maybe the Drowner. It's probably one of the most significant.
Yeah,
the Drowner over Chandra.
I think so.
Significant threat that are going to come down. You can force your way through the negate if you must.
Yeah.
But,
the Chandra would have to come down in -4 and kill itself anyway if it was going to get rid of Thought Not Seer, so...
I'd say that, based on your logic, I'd have taken the Drowner. But we'll see how it plays out. Might have a couple of cards we don't quite know, or he might have a different sort of game plan.
So Spatial Contortion, the draw for a Dan.
I think we'll go for the Man-Land Spatial Contortion again.
I think he might be wise to that plan there. Although we did just see his hand and it had no Spatial Contortion, so you never know. But I think we're just going to see a Drowner of Hope here.
I think a 5/5 with 3 from ones is it.
That can tap down whatever it wants to get in there.
I don't think he needs to tap down the D.
Not really, no.
Just say, come on, come at me.
There's another Secure the Waste. Hand looking a little bit awkward now. I think he might try and play the Gideon. He knows that he doesn't have the negate anymore.
It's a big deal. Is it Gideon token?
It's the only play you can make.
I don't think you make an emblem here, so there's very little. You don't need to preserve its life total. Well, you might need to preserve its life a bit, I guess. In Down's turn, he can go sack sounds, tap them both, and then
play Chandra as well.
Well, I was thinking just rumble with the.
Yeah, I mean, there's infinite choices on that side. He could draw 2 cards as well if he wants to draw 2 cards.
What's the decision? What's the thinking? I think it's probably the Gideon now.
I think it has to
everything
be.
Else is
I think letting Dan untap and then playing Secure the Waste is not a way to win the game, really. Although it looks like that's the line he's gone for.
Plan, but I don't know. I think Dan's probably just going to rumble for 5 and play the Chandra and rumble for 6.
I think he'd like to just play another Drowner of Hope that he's just drawn, or just draw like a god, You could. There's the in for 5 from Dan. I don't know whether he's. I think Matthew might be considering playing Secure the Waste, jump blocking, or double blocking with the Thought Not Seer. I'm not sure I like this plan, so I think he's taking 5.
I think you choose to take 5.
Yeah. There's another Drowner of Hope.
It's got worse before it got
I think the name is incredibly relevant here. It's drowning any hope of winning the game that he's.
He needs some water wings right now, doesn't
he? He does. Yeah, he does.
And here comes the skill list. I think Dan's going to say, sure, you can make 3 1/1s.
I think he's probably quite fine with that.
I'm cool with that. The Scions
There's another Secure the Waste off the top.
Well, do you think he goes for the 3rd?
Who knows?
Gideon this time? Looks like a Gideon this time, yeah.
I mean, he could make Gideon emblem to make an army of 2/2s and a 5/5.
I think with 2 5/5s and the Scions, Dan's got too much control over the board.
Exactly. Yeah, there we go. We make the emblem, and I think Dan can just sack the tokens to tap down Matthew's board, make the Chandra, and win the game.
Yeah.
But we'll see if he sees that line.
Oh yeah, he can go end step, sack all 4 tokens.
Well, he doesn't even have to do it end step. He can do it in his main phase as well. Just play the Chandra and win.
See if he sees it. Gets in there for 16 if he does that, doesn't he? And he can even leave up a counter spell.
Exactly, yeah.
In case there's a pact of negation or a slaughter pact.
Slaughter pact, yeah.
But yeah.
So, hands on tapping, charging his main majoring network. Draws an island, which I'm sure he's happy about. Best card in Magic, basic island.
Volcanic Island?
I guess Wasteland.
I mean, I guess. Underground Sea? Brainstorm?
You can't cast that with that island.
Legacy blue cards, basically.
I don't think you're thinking this through at all. Anyway, so I was just having a quick think. Playing a Chandra, of course, with the Shrine tapping for 2 mana, so he has 6 lands in play.
Oh.
Nice. Drawing some cards.
So we're just going to double check that we're right. You sack 4 Scions, tap 4 down,
Yes.
make 2 guys, it's 6 damage, plus those 2, 10. Yeah, okay.
I think that it's, you know, the allure of being on the feature match. You know, you want to hang around as much as you possibly can and
He's
show
got
off.
his 50 minutes, he's got his little time.
I mean, he knows that. Look at the quality of the camera.
Yeah.
You know.
He's not paid by the hour, and we're not paying them anyway, obviously. But so like, just get it done, sign the slip, get some time to chill out before your next round. Don't give your opponent the opportunity to draw out of it.
No, there's an odd Nix list coming down, and I think that's going to get countered.
Definitely.
Flash of Wolves.
For 2?
Take down. Yep, take down that odd Nix list.
I'm sure why it was for 2. Maybe he's got the Regency bias after that Hedron crawler gaff last
Yeah,
time.
maybe. He's just being double sure.
Yeah.
No Simmons Spirit Guides.
Doing
Draw
it
more
again?
cards. Yeah.
What are we doing?
Just wants to make super sure.
I mean, I guess, but it's very bizarre.
Maybe we're missing something. But
Maybe we are, and maybe if we could see some part of the Twitch chat, they'd be telling us why we're wrong.
Yeah.
But I'm not seeing it.
No, he just wants to make more Scions. The Eldrazi Swarm will take over, and Matthew's getting another untap. He does have double black now, so he could infinite obliteration. Seems good.
Get rid of the Ulamogs, because they're the problem.
That's the thing with infinite obliteration. I think in both games we've seen it get stuck in his hand and just not do anything relevant. I think it's one of those cards that some people love and some people hate.
I think it's the kind of thing where against counterspell decks, if you're the opponent, they know about the prospect of infinite obliteration.
Yeah.
They can make it very unlikely to resolve initially, and then when it's actually bad, they just say I don't care about it anymore. And here it is.
Yeah.
There it was.
Oh, he had the Ulamog as well.
I think Matt knew a long time ago when he was
Ulamog.
just drawing cards going, if you're going to give me 3 turns, I'll see if I can draw an Ancestral and then and all the stuff I need.
Yeah. But there we go. So Dan Cocking wraps it up 2-1 against Matthew Mitchell. I think that was kind of what I expected. I think counter spells against the black-white deck is very good, and obviously with this being the Eldrazi deck, it's a little bit more mid-rangey. So I think it's even better.
I think it comes down to if the Eldrazi deck can come out quick. I say quick. If it can resolve a 3-drop and a 4-drop, and then Dan doesn't draw his proactive answers, he kind of sits looking at counter spells saying something went wrong here.
Yeah. Or if he just doesn't draw lands. I mean, in the first game, so there's always hope.
Right, so we're gonna move away from the feature match area, get everything out of the way, come back to us right now.
Right.
And quite an interesting game actually.
It was a good game. Yeah, it wasn't quite as tedious as I expected it to be. Let's put it that way.
Well, it wasn't.
And we got to see Ulamog come down, destroy some creatures, slam in, mill him, or XL the top 20.
Mill him one at a time. Got to show them all.
Yeah, you do. Yeah. You got to make the most of that time that you have in the feature match.
I guess it wasn't a green white tokens mirror. That's the big plus for
I mean,
me.
I agree, but we'll see that later, I'm sure.
I'm sure we will. But
we have a deck tech lined up for you that we've recorded. So enjoy.